National Energy Board approvals have been stalled indefinitely for the Energy East pipeline after a group of violent protesters disrupted those meetings in Montreal in late August. Coincidentally or not so coincidentally, the federal Liberals decided to review the NEB process around the same time and stacked those review panels with their anti-pipeline friends that, in some cases, fund anti-oil causes. There hasn't been an announcement as to when the hearings will continue, and these projects are critical to the country's economy. I've been talking to some of our politicians about this issue, and I had a chance to catch up to Progressive Conservative leadership candidate Jason Kenney and talk about the false narrative that the Liberals are pushing out about our regulatory processes. Here's what he had to say about Justin Trudeau talking down our system.
It is the highest and best quality in the world. Experts make that point all the time. We are talking about the most highly trained technical experts who spend more time than in any other country reviewing environmental applications for pipelines and other projects. We have the highest standards in the world. He should stop talking down our standards. And let's face it, the Prime Minister's top policy advisor, Jerry Butts, wants to keep it in the ground. That's the Liberal hidden agenda. And even if they rubber stamp with massive conditions one of these pipeline projects, the real question is, will it ever be built? Having created this fiction of social license, how are they actually going to be able to ensure the application of the rule of law when all of the environmental radicals refuse to actually allow the construction of these projects? So for me, the measure of success is not a token approval. It's actually building and completing pipelines and replacing this ridiculous notion of social license with the ancient principle of the rule of law.
We also talked about the carbon tax that Rachel Notley and the NDP are implementing on January 1st, and that Kenney says he'll scrap if given the chance.
So since the NDP announced its intention to impose the carbon tax, President Obama vetoed Keystone XL, Justin Trudeau vetoed Northern Gateway with his BC tanker traffic ban. All of the mayors in the Lower Mainland and the British Columbia NDP came out against the Trans Mountain Pipeline. All of the mayors in Southern Quebec came out against Energy East, and all of the environmental groups who were opposed to pipelines before the NDP carbon tax are now opposed to pipelines after the NDP carbon tax. It hasn't moved one person from opposition to support of pipelines. It's a complete failure by that standard.
Think of it this way. British Columbia has had a carbon tax for over a decade, and how far has that gotten us to getting pipelines built? There's no such thing as a social license, and that's proven in the BC example. As Kenney mentioned, Obama shot the Keystone XL extension down after Trudeau, who presents himself as an eco-warrior, was elected in. Not only this, but polls have shown that the majority of Canadian citizens support pipeline infrastructure, suggesting that it's not really a social license, but a license to get shovels in the ground on these projects that's necessary. In reality, the only people that aren't confident in our regulation and approval processes are the federal Liberals themselves. For the Rebel.media, I'm Holly Nicholas. Thanks so much for watching. Click the link below to subscribe to The Rebel for only $8 a month. Not only will you have access to our regular content, but full-length shows only available to subscribers.